Hey guys, welcome back to Warpaint Off-Road. I'm Dan, and today's video is going to be all about showing you how to paint match repairs or add-on pieces to your vehicle. So stick around and check it out. Now, we've all been out there where we have a scratch on our vehicle or we want to add something on, like a new set of fenders, maybe some trim pieces, whatever the case may be, and you want it to match your factory paint. We've all also seen vehicles that people have tried to match their factory paint, but it doesn't quite match, and then it just looks like something's off. We've also seen people that bolt on armor and other things that don't match at all, right? They didn't even try. They painted it black, put it on a yellow Jeep. Now that may look okay if that's the look you're going for, but if you want things to match, you want it to look a little cleaner, there is a cheap way to do it at home in your own garage. Now, we're gonna start off with corner armor that is not even close to being ready to being painted, right? It's nice, thick 3/16 steel, which is gonna mean it's pretty forgiving for us when it gets into knocking this rust off of it. But basically, we're gonna have to do some prep work in order to make this thing look good. Now, let me preface this, guys, because I am by no means pretending that I am a bodywork guy. I am not a bodywork guy. I can do a lot of stuff mechanically. You've seen me do it on Warpaint. Now, Warpaint's hood is open, not because this video has anything to do with working on your engine, but I was filming a YouTube short, an Instagram reel.
Hey, where's the freaking gabagoo?
So you're probably gonna wanna check that out if you want a good laugh. But if you want your body pieces, okay, to maybe look halfway decent, especially on a trail rig or on something that's not a show vehicle, you want it to look like this, right? I don't know how well you can really see that metallic in there, but it looks pretty close to that, guys. And if you are looking for that matching paint that looks pretty close, basically as close as you're gonna be able to get it at home for just a couple of bucks, then you're gonna wanna stick around and check this out. So first things first, we have to prep that metal. We have to knock the rust off, knock any of the contaminants off, clean it up really well so that our primer and base layers can stick. Now, the way I'm gonna do that is very, very different and goes against basically everything that the bodywork industry talks about.
You know, over and over again I say, we don't make mistakes, we have happy accidents. So today, let's have a happy accident and see what we can make out of it.
They make a stripping disc for your grinder. Now again, thin sheet metal, you want to really be careful with a grinder that's spinning at that kind of RPM because it'll put some heat into that thin sheet metal and do some funny things with it that you don't want it to do. But on this thicker stuff, 3/16 steel, 1/4 inch steel, things like that, you're okay to use it. You just want to use very light pressure. Now that stripping disc almost looks like a sea sponge. If you've never seen one, I'll throw an image of one up on the screen for you. And it won't remove any steel. They're actually really nice. They just remove rust and paint and things like that. Well, I don't have one of those. So I'm gonna show you the true budget way, and we're gonna use a flap disc. Now, this is a 40 grit flap disc, which will make swirl marks in our metal, okay? But again, it's gonna put some heat into the metal. So I'm gonna go very, very, very light. I just wanna take off that top finish of metal. I don't wanna make any divots. I don't wanna make it have ripples in it or anything like that by changing the amount of pressure I put into it. So very light, very easy, and we're gonna get started and you'll see the finished product in, I don't know, what, this is YouTube magic, so a couple of seconds. Hey guys, listen, if it works, it works. And on thick steel, it works. All right, now, if you look, there's a lot of swirl marks and things like that in this steel. But again, we're gonna use a thick filler primer. And on this thick, heavy steel, none of this stuff is gonna show once we put that filler primer on there. The primer we're gonna use is Duplicolor, and it's called Duplicolor Perfect match premium automotive paint scratch filler primer. Now this scratch filler primer is meant to fill things much deeper than these little tiny squirrel marks I put into this steel. So a coat, maybe 2 coats of this stuff, and this is gonna look perfect and be ready for paint. We're gonna use O'Reilly's brake parts cleaner, nothing crazy. They do make stuff for this that is more of a specific, you know, auto body paint prep spray. But again, for what we're doing, the finish that we're looking for, this is plenty. It won't be a big deal. But as you can see, obviously there was some dust and stuff on there, so real important to get that stuff off. After giving that rattle can a good mix, you're gonna wanna start to apply your primer. Now you're gonna wanna take note of the spray pattern and make sure that you give it about a 50% overlap on each pass. You're gonna wanna do nice long passes. And make sure you keep the can a consistent distance away from the steel the entire time, making sure that the paint is even. Got it coated here, right? Obviously it's still wet, you can tell. It's got that glossy finish. That'll kind of start to go away as it dries. Now, when it comes to actually matching your paint, the first thing you're gonna need is the actual paint code. We can find that on the driver's side door jamb of your vehicle. Now right here, you have a sticker. It's gonna be just above the one that gives you your, you know, factory tire size and tire pressure and all that kind of stuff. But right in here, it basically gives you all sorts of information about your vehicle. And if you look, it actually tells you the paint code right there by my finger. Now the paint code for this one is gonna be a PSC. Now, as far as paint goes, this is what I'm using. It is actually a Mopar touch-up paint that goes with that paint code on the door. And basically, this paint is pretty much all you're gonna need. You're gonna obviously top coat it with clear, but these are awesome. They only come in 4-ounce cans, right? You can tell based on the size of my hand, it's pretty small, but 1 can is enough to do 1 piece of corner armor with about 2 coats. So consider that. Now there is another company called Automotive Touch-Up. I'll link to it in the description, but that company makes a can that's about 3 times as large and it's only about twice as expensive. So it's really not that bad. You can usually pick these up for about 15 bucks and the other company sells theirs for about $26, $27. But they also have the availability at Automotive Touch-Up to make any vehicle's paint, which is pretty cool, right? This stuff is just year, make, model related to Mopar, and it's kind of hard to get your hands on. But that's what I used on the one piece, so I'm going to use it again on this piece to make sure it's exactly a match. And just like we did with the primer, we're going to make sure we mix it up really, really well. Apply it in nice, long, even strokes with about a 50% overlap, making sure not to put it on too thick and get any runs in the paint, because we can obviously always hit it a second time. All right, guys, so that's after 2 coats of the color from that Mopar touch-up paint, and you can see how good it basically came out, right? It even has the metallic in there. It's nice and even. So at this point, we're gonna let that flash for a little while and sit there and kind of set up, and then I'm gonna hit it with this Perfect Match clear coat from Duplicolor. I'm gonna put 2-3 coats of this on it. Usually clear is not all that thick, but this coming out of the rattle can is super thin, and clear can get a run in it very, very, very easily. So it's really important that when you put this on in very light coats and just pile a couple of them on there.
A few moments later.
All right, guys, 2 coats of clear. And there we are, right? I mean, that's pretty good as far as the metallic in there and the shine on it. You can tell that actually matches this guy pretty well here. So there we have it, guys. Very, very simple, easy way to protect your panels and get them to pretty closely resemble your rig with the factory paint code. Keep in mind, as I said before, those Mopar touch-up paints can be kind of hard to find and they are a little bit expensive, but you can go to that other website I mentioned before, and that'll be linked in the description to get a larger can for less cash, and it should do a pretty good job. In the next video, I'm going to get this corner armor up on the back of the rig, show you guys how to wire up the new tail lights because they're not plug and play, and figure all that stuff out, but should protect the back corner of the Jeep a little bit better. And until then, guys, make sure you click that subscribe button, share this video with your friends, keep building.